Hey everybody, Poker Dad here. I am about to play a session on Ignition of NL25. I'm just going to record the first hour of the session. Instead of having a whole session up, just give you an hour of the session and just a little bit of watchability for you without having to sit through 2 hours worth of poker for you. Anyway, before I start playing, I'll be playing two tables on Ignition. I got to do my little warm up here. So the first question is going to be, why am I playing? And right now, my goal here for what I'm trying to do is get enough hands to move up to NL 50. So I want to get in 10,000 hands, showing um, a winning, a good win rate, a positive win rate. Right now, I do have 15 buy-ins for NL50, which is, that's where I want to be able to play, is having 15 buy-ins or more. But since I've started this challenge at NL25, I only have 8,819 hands at a win rate of 6.05. So, one second, I just gotta pause this for a sec. A child is coming down. I'll just continue my video here. Um, so that's my goal here. Next up in the warm up here is I'm at A game or B or C. I am in A game after watching a flush draw module, which I've been doing for the past week, focusing on flush draws in the upswing lab. And my 5-minute question tonight is, am I hand reading my opponents well and trusting my hand reading skills, which is what my question really has been the past few days, just to make sure that I am trusting myself and not hitting the call button when I know I should really be hitting the fold button. And my focus tonight, I don't really have like a set focus on what it's going to be, so my focus is really just to continue to make smart decisions. And I'm going to play about 2 hours. Like I said, I will be recording about 1 hour, but I'm going to play 2 hours. All right, so now let's get started with the session. And good. Always nice to see we get a full table to start. I'm going to pause the video until I actually get to start playing, so we're not wasting any video time doing nothing. All right, I'm going to be next up on the table here. I'm going to load up another table while we wait. Hopefully it's a full table. I like to make this a little bit bigger. Sizing the windows on the Ignition is like a complete nightmare. Actually, I did pretty good here, huh? It's pretty good sizing. I'm getting to be a pro at this. They're almost exactly the same size. All right, so looks like I'll be waiting a little bit here. My timing was a little bit off getting onto this table, but I'll be on the table here on the left. So it's 9:22. We'll stop the video at 10:30. So let's see. Here we go. Bam. Ready to roll. Ready to roll. Here we go. I like to play tight ranges here on Ignition because of all the recreational players. I prefer to play tight, where if I'm playing a bet online, I play a little bit of a looser range against the tighter players. So looser players here, I play a tighter range. Bet online, they play tighter range. They play tighter, I play looser. So doing the opposite. Got to keep an eye on stack sizes too. You got these two here. They are short stacks, $6 and $8. I got to remember that. It's important. Sometimes I forget to look at stack sizes, and that's a big problem for me. So right here, we're just going to check the twos, and we don't get we don't really get a set or anything like that. This is the type of hand with the sevens and the fives. Depending on the size of the bet, I can call at least. Think about calling the the flop. Actually, even still, it's kind of a tough spot here to call the flop with. But let's see here. So we check around. Now this is an interesting spot. Obviously any pair that's going to come out is going to be a better full house than mine. Uh, we don't think anybody has a 7 though, so it's an interesting spot here if somebody does bet. And you get a min bet, which is like nothing. Now we get a raise. I'm actually going to... I know you think I'm probably crazy, but I'm going to fold out of this hand because any other pair that can come through in a three-way pot, I would actually be losing to. So I don't really see the reasoning for calling this bet. Somebody has a 7, I've already lost this hand. So this actually is something, believe it or not, with a full house I'm going to fold. Having what's going to be the worst full house, and full house is like a minimum hand on this board anyway. If I call, it's going to be a complete disaster. And look, there you go. So he's calling it. Look at that. So if somebody has a 7, they have the best full house. My 2s mean nothing. Curious to see how this hand plays out here. They're either chopping or somebody has a 7, unless somebody has a quad. Somebody has quads. Well, let's see. There's a 7. So that's exactly why I folded. Somebody has a 7, no matter what, I'm already doomed in that hand regardless. It's a 3 here. Obviously, it's going to end up being a fold. So there's how to play a full house when everybody at the table is going to have a full house. And it's pretty much, no point in staying in with the 2s there, even though it's like, oh, you got a full house. Well, you really don't have a full house. Because chances are everybody's going to have a full house. And especially if somebody has that pair on the board, has that other card, and I'm sitting here with 2s, nothing's going to happen there. This 2-3, of course, would be a check fold. And there it is. So we have 5-handed here now. We only have the 1 short stack, which is good. This queen 8 from the small blinds a fold. Let's see what's going on this table here. We got $10 here, 18 here. So we got jacks over here on the left. So obviously we're going to bump this up to $1 with the limp there. The 6-4 is a fold over here. So we go 3 ways, and it's definitely an interesting flop for us. This min bet is quite interesting here. I'm just going to call it, considering that I could definitely just have the 3rd best pair here. Now we get the straight, so we'll definitely bet if it's or raise it, seeing what happens here. No reason not to. 25, so we'll bump it up 3 to 75 cents. Unfortunately, that's the best we can really do. Obviously, we're giving great pot odds on this for anybody to continue. Should probably raise it up higher. Just disregarded his bet and did a 70 and do a bigger bet here. Now that I think about it, that was a bad bet. And then you got a straight possibility, a flush possibility out there. So that was actually a bad bet there. It's not going to raise up to 75 cents. And this here I'm gonna check off here. God, this is one of those spots where I should probably fold it here. But I'm gonna call my straight. Just hope he doesn't have a flush. Yeah. So there you go. That's what I said I wasn't gonna do in a spot like that. But that was my fault really, for the fact that I should have bet bigger. I definitely should have bet bigger there. Here, still with enough flush draw, I'm gonna check call it. Unfortunately, we do not hit the nut flush. And Interesting spot here that he's been betting like that. He was the caller though. Now let's just check it off. Interesting spot with the jack there. He shoves it, and obviously it's not like we can bluff here or anything like that. So definitely a bad job though. I kind of screwed this up, and then I shouldn't have called it because I knew he had a flush. When I hit the straight, I definitely should have put like a real bet in instead of just raising up 25 cents. So that was a mistake of mine over on this board, definitely. And then the question is if he would, then if he would have called it, it would have, the whole hand would have made a little more sense. But the fact that I've raised it there with the straight, only 75 cents, when really I should just disregard his 25 cents because his 25 cents isn't even a real bet anyway. And I definitely should have made a real bet over his bet. It's really what I should have done there on the straight. So that was definitely my mistake, and I did pay for it. And then to add into that, I called when you heard me, I said it. He had a flush, and if I remember correctly, what I say in the warm up, right? Am I hand reading my opponents well and trusting my reading skills? Well, that was a fail right there. But you know what? That's okay. We can fix that. That won't happen again. Luckily, it wasn't an expensive. It wasn't an expensive mistake. So here we get Jack 7. We got a backdoor flush draw here. So let's check it. $0.60 here. So I'm actually going to raise him. Well, Jack 6. I'm actually going to throw in a raise of $1.80. I got some things happening for me here. He calls it. I still have the flush draw happening, so I'm actually going to see if I can just bluff him over this pot now of $3. And he does call it, unfortunately. Best I have is a pair of 7s here. Not a great hand for me. So let's just check it here. And he has a pair of kings. We weren't getting him off that. I'll bump this up afterwards. 410 is definitely gonna be a fold. All right, and we'll just check the 4s here. This hand here is pretty much gonna be a fold. As ace-2, I will bump up. As queen-7, I can fold. And 6-3 here, we will fold. And that's 7-2, will fold. I will say bluffing works a lot better at Bet Online than it does here at Ignition. So maybe I should kind of slow down with the bluffing at this point versus these recreational type players. Here we get ace king. We'll 3-bet this here if he bets into us. 3-bet a 3x, which he does. So I'll make it $1.80. This 10-6 is going to be a fold here. If he 4-bets it, I'm just going to call it in position. But he folds. And this 9-3, I'll fold that up. Yeah, so those were a lesson on why you should probably not do any kind of major bluffing at ignition. But that's okay. So we've learned some lessons there. Don't bluff at ignition, and when somebody bets min and you have a straight, just give it a real bet. Not 3x, which is 75 cents. That's terrible, especially when you have two flush draws on the table there. We gave just ridiculous pot odds for number one to continue, and he thanked us for it. He thanked us for it, and then we repaid him by saying, "Here, yeah, take some of that money. We don't want it. We're not interested." All right, so we got six-handed here. And I'll go back and watch this video, and I'll watch myself do it. I'm like, idiot. Stop, you moron. And 10-3 is a fold here. And this 9-2 will be a fold from the small blind. Here we got ace-8 offsuit from the button, which I will raise up if it doesn't get raised up prior to me. If not, it'll be a fold. Number one is really playing very tight so far, 320 hands. He's a 5-5. He raises it up. This is an easy fold for us. And this 10-8 will fold that up. This guy does an overbet here to take that down. 6-2, we can fold that. So what do we have going over here? So we got a bunch of full stacks. This guy's a 29-24, 29-12, a 10-10. This guy's only played two hands. This guy so far is playing 50% of his hands, so he's our recreational player at the table. This table, we got a guy, he's playing 50% of his hands. He's playing 80% of his hands thus far through 10 hands. 50% of his hands through this table is a very fishy table. In fact, this table's VPIP percentage, which I can see through Drive HUD, which you can't see on the video, is this table's VPIP percentage is 55%, where this table's VPIP percentage is 23%. Big difference. So this table is crazy. This table is not so crazy. This table right now, I'm currently down $9.05, and this table I'm currently down $7.20. So here we don't have a small blinders table. Doesn't matter because we're folding 5-3 anyway. And this king 4 will fold that one up. And my kids are walking upstairs. I tell you, my girls they turn 14. Um, they turn 14 in 2 days, and they got such heavy feet. They walk up. They're walking upstairs, and it sounds like there's an earthquake happening in my house. I don't know if you can hear it on the video, but it's like a stampede up there. I think we're like I'm running with the bulls up in my house. What disaster! I get a flush over here. Can I get a post over here? No. So we get king queen over here. This 10-7 will be junk unless it gets checked. We have a raise here from basically the cutoff, and we're in the big blind with king queen off. So we're actually just going to call this here. So what do we get here? Seven. It's not really much of a hand. We got a backdoor flush draw. Potential straight draw happening here. This is going to be a fold over here. So let's see what he gets. All right, so we don't. All right, so 9, 8, 9, 10 jack would make a straight. 8, 9, 10 jack, queen, king. So if 10 comes in, we'd actually have a better straight. So it's an interesting spot here. So let's just check it off here. Of course, being out of position. I don't think it's crazy to call a bet though, because if a 10 comes out, over bet those. Yeah. I'm not going to call the over bet. The odds now to just, even I got 2 over cards, it's definitely, I'm just really looking for a 10 to come out here on the over bet. I'm definitely not calling. There you go. Wouldn't have been a 10. Yeah, see, that's what I'm supposed to do when I just give a real bet when I have straight. Idiots. Idiots. Place a real bet. You moron. This table is so tight. I could really play an extended range on this table. I feel good about it, but I don't know. It's hard for me to give ignition players any kind of credit. So even though this table's tight, I'm going to play it like it wasn't tight. This 10-7 I could bump up if he folds. See the queens here. Definitely going to make it 5x. So 375. This here, I'm going to bump it up. See what happens here with the queens. A 3-bet here. Definitely going to be folding the 10-7. So we got 2 calls with the queens. So this is definitely an interesting spot with the flush draw being out there, but I got a flush draw too. This is a spot I'm actually going to c-bet out of position, believe it or not, since I did make the 3-bet. I know it's kind of risky. Potential raise on a flush could happen. But yeah, I decided to take it down there instead of risking. Somebody has an ace of clubs, and king comes out, somebody has a pair of kings, and my hand was a little bit vulnerable. I wanted to do the c-bet there. I think that was a perfectly fine spot to do the c-bet there in a multi-way pot. Especially with it being such a big raise and the fact that all these guys came along with me. They didn't care the fact I made it $3.75. Ace-5 here. This I can definitely bump up at this super tight table. No reason not to. They get folds. And it's queen 5 we can fold. I did a half pot bet here on that on those queens because just because I did a 3-bet. So the next best bet there for a c-bet on a 3-bet is supposed to be half pot really, and I think that was fine because I don't think I needed to bet anything more than half pot. They're either going to call, they're going to fold. So I don't unless somebody raises maybe with the nut flush or something like that, or you know I don't even think like a regular flush would raise. I think only nut flush would raise there. This jack four, we can fold this up. But hey, we got into the win column. We won a hand, thank goodness. It didn't matter how we did it. Now we can move forward for the rest of this evening and rock it, baby. Yeah. Rock it. Yeah. You get my singing too. I'm sure you're thrilled with that. You should be, actually. I have a good voice. I do. Alright, we're going to check the jack four here. And that's pretty much all she's going to write on this one here. We'll be happy to fold any bet. They don't want us to bet. They don't want us to fold, unfortunately. Can we be winning with a pair of fours? It'd be kind of crazy, but I would not be shocked. Pair of twos. Yeah, we won with a pair of fours. I'll take it. It's always funny when that happens. With a pair of fours, too, of all things. Alright, this six, let's see what's going to happen here. This could be a 3-bet spot. Could be a call. Depends on who opens it. Alright, come on. Come on. Let's see what happens. I think now we are officially, let's see, cut off. Small blind 6-6. Yeah, we're going to raise this up here, and I'm going to bump it up 5x, actually. 375. The reason I'm doing 5x is because we have this guy here, and I don't want him coming along with us, even though we saw that they would call in that spot there. So let's see what he decides to do here. He wasn't opening up many hands, and he folds it up. So there we go. We take it down with our sixes on a pretty big 3-bet. 10-4, he can fold that. It's king 9 will raise up if he folds it. And he does. He's thinking an awful long time about this. I only bumped up 75 cents. This Jack 10 from the small blind. Just always going to be a fold here since I'm using... so this is an interesting spot. Ace, Queen, 6, King, 9. Definitely just going to be checking this here. This is really... interesting spot. He checks it. I could definitely bluff this here. But I might just have the best hand right now anyway. This ace-7 I'm going to fold. Let's check it here. Get the 9, which is great, actually. I'm not even going to bet it here. There's no purpose in betting. He's not going to call me with worse than a pair of 9, so check it and just see if we take it down. And yeah, we do. No reason to try not to bluff because honestly, I believe at that point, even with the checks that we have, even King 9, we already have the best hand anyway. And just no problem, just checking it down. Let's see, this ace-5 here. Let me refer to my limping chart. And to cut off ace-5 suited, I'm actually going to limp behind, actually. So I have a limping chart to help me in these situations where we have limpers. And here I just will limp behind. If somebody raises it, yeah, see, I'm definitely going to... With ace-5, I mean... Let's see, if this was considered a 3-bet, right? All right, cut off. Everybody's calling. So I actually am going to call here too, actually. I know it seems crazy, but let's see if we can get something out of it. And I mean, we do have a gut shot and we have a backdoor nut flush draw here. Definitely a very interesting spot. I'm going to check through, but I will definitely call a bet. Now it's really going to depend on pot odds. All we have now is waiting for two, so we only have 4 outs. I mean, or an ace, possibly. All right, so obviously with the 25-cent bet, we'll just call it. This ace 8 here is going to be a fold. And I think I just will fold to any raise. And now nothing really happens here. I mean, could we take it down with ace high? Possible, except maybe we got such a low ace high. Let's see what happens. Hopefully it just checks through and we get this C. No, all right, forget that. The over bet. 9, 10, jack, queen. Maybe has queen, jack, I guess, for a straight. I guess he really wanted that. All right, that's fine. Whatever. I mean, nobody's calling that anyway. It's 10-9. We fold that. I mean, that hand costs us nothing. It costs us a total of 50 cents. That's 5-9. We'll fold. There's no small blind here again. Yeah, there not being a small blind, you really lose incentive to even. This guy loses complete incentive to even call. So, King 10 here to the. So when a limp comes in there, I mean it's just gonna be a check here with King 10 offsuit, and it's really not a great flop. So this would be easy fold to any bet, and there's that bet, and 9-4 will fold here. Let's see, 7-5 here is going to be a fold, even to the limp. So I use a couple of different opening charts. I use for ignition. I use different charts for ignition and bet online. So for ignition, I actually use the crush into micros charts, where I use the upswing charts for it's 10-9 offsuit here. Definitely going to raise this up. So we get 6 days. There's nothing happening here. So we get a call. 6, 7, 8. So we do have a gut shot here. Backdoor flush draw. Definitely a spot to bet. $1.41. So we'll make it $1.20. And he folds it. So what they're saying. Oh, it's still in his hand. There's really nothing happening here. So I use a crush into micro stakes opening charts here on ignition. But then I use a chart from upswing, a limping chart, which is kind of like a live chart, to kind of give me an idea of what I should be doing in limp pots. So here, 7-6 suited, I would just limp along. I just follow through. Now he raises it. Let's see what he does here. Let's fold here. I could actually just call this here. 7-6 suited. Yeah, I'm going to call it as if this were a 3-bet. Back to a flush draw. See what he does here. See what kind of odds I get. It's a pretty small bet. Um, Pot out to 28%, so I'm definitely going to call this here. And we still have the flush draw happening, so that's pretty good. I might go for a check raise here. See what he does. It's probably not a great board to check raise on though. 399. 31% now. Alright, I'm just going to call it. I could raise it, but I'm just going to call it here. And don't hit it. Maybe I should have raised it. Maybe I should have raised it. Maybe I can bluff him here with a jack. Let's just check it. Could be an interesting bluff spot to just shove if I want to take my chances on something like that. It would be risky. I mean, this guy's a fish though too. He might just call it. 155. Yeah, there's no reason in bluffing because he only has 9-11 behind. He's going to call that no matter what. So ace-4 on both. This is a more interesting ace-4, but we'll definitely be raising up this ace-4. Let's see, small blind here. He's what are we, 5-handed. So there's the hijack. Ace-4 is actually a 3-bet, so I'm actually going to make this $2.50. Here, what do we have? Ace-4. This is actually a spot I can c-bet this. $1.20. He shoves. Wow, we don't have a lot to go with here. Interesting spot. You know I probably shouldn't, but I'm actually going to call this here. Interesting. We got the nut flush. And there you go. So that worked out. You know, it was just such a small amount. I mean, I really didn't see any reason not to. So 10's here. We're going to make it $1. Let's see, small blind 3-bets us. And we are in the button. So we can actually 4-bet him here. He's kind of a reggish player. So let's 4-bet him. 325 times 2. We'll make it $6.50. That's our best chance to win this hand is by 4-betting. And if he shoves, then we fold it. And he shoves, so this is just an easy fold now at this point. Uh, 9-5, we'll fold that up. Now we just wait for our turn again. Here we get king queen from the button. This 2-9 would be a fold, of course. And when you get the limp there, king queen off will just make it a dollar. And we'll just take that down without a fight. 3-2, you can fold that. So four-handed here now. Everybody's got a full stack. These two are recreational players. Oh, I got a new guy coming in. Let's see what's going on over here. Still got this guy. He's been here the whole time. Type player. He's new. He's a reg. He's a reg. Queen 2 will be folding that one up. This table is operating at a 40% VPIP. This table is operating at a 33% VPIP, which is normal for ignition. This king 5 will fold that. So it's definitely been an interesting session so far. This table here, we're down about $10, and this table here, we are down about $8, so down about $17 total so far. Nothing we haven't come back from before. Eight, 9 suited here from the button. Most cases is going to definitely be a call or a bet, so we'll bet it, of course. And we got a new player here. Let's see what he wants to do. So if he's in the, if he 3-bets it, we'll definitely call. He folds it. It's 10-2 we can fold. And of course, the 7-3 offsuit we will definitely be folding. It's amazing, by the way, the chat on Ignition. I swear, some people they're like children. I wonder how they're even playing on this site. They act like they're like 5. 10-6 we can fold. Some of the things are like ridiculous. When it gets like ridiculous, I just click the notes button so I don't have to see the chat. Because sometimes the chat can be distracting, to say the least. Uh, 9-7 here, we fold that up. 9-7 suited though in the upswing opening ranges. So on bet online, this I would actually open this under the gun. Thing is, bet online you don't deal with as many like multi-way pots as you do here, and you don't deal with as many crazy like sometimes Ignition is definitely the wild west. But I still feel like there's just more money-making opportunities to be had here on Ignition. 8-6 suited from a cutoff open in the button. It's actually a 3-bet. All right, let's do it. Screw it. Let's 3-bet it. Why not, right? It's an interesting spot. Obviously, it's a very loose play, but I like it, actually. I don't like the fact he called. I don't like the fact I'm in a 3-way pot. Oh, come on. Then again, it's like that would never happen on Bet Online. I'm telling you that right now. God, should I bluff this here? I should actually. See if we get him to fold. You need to fold. You need to fold. Just fold. What are you even thinking about? I have aces. I have three aces. Thank you. So sometimes you can bluff on ignition. Oh man. All right. So sometimes you can bluff. That's the ultimate bluff. I need to like highlight this that bluff somewhere. The fact that I three bet with ace six suited and had like the worst board possible and was able to bluff them out with a half pot bet. Oh man, that was crazy. I got lucky on that one. But then again, none I three bet, none of them four bet me. So none of them had aces or queens or kings or anything like that. So God knows what they were. God knows what they even called me with. Some these people sometimes will call three bets with like the craziest hands. So we might have all been sitting there with like freaking middle card suited hands, or they could have had like a pair of sixes or a pair of eights or a pair of sevens or a pair of nines, a pair of tens even, which is quite possible. So maybe the fact that that board came out was the best for my range actually, because of the fact that they believe I'm three betting with kings, aces, right? Ace king, queens, those types of hands. They don't expect me to be three betting with ace six suited. They would never expect me to three bet with ace six suited. So actually, that flop ends up being the best flop for me. When they all both check to me, I have no reason to not take a stab at it, just for the fact that it represents my range so well. So there you go. I've justified it. And that was my whole thought process. And then we just had to hope number four folded, and he did. So there you go. Well, there you go. So I guess you can bluff on ignition once in a while. It's just tough to bluff, like, after the flop, it's kind of hard to bluff. Because the players definitely do get sticky here with their hands. Jack 9, definitely to raise it up. It's something to keep in mind. They do get sticky with their hands post-flop if they have any piece of the board. Let's see, so Jack 9 suited, just in case we get 3-bet here. We would actually have called the 3-bet. See, ace-6 offsuit here. From the cutoff is actually going to be a fold no matter what. So king-queen here. Let's see if the cutoff raises it up. We're just going to call it, but if not, we're just going to raise it. And it's queen 3. We can fold that. All right. This is definitely a solid spot for us here to bet. So I bet $1.20. Just saying he gets the fold, of course, which I expected. 7-2 offsuit. Oh man, it's crazy stuff. It's been a weird session. I mean, overall, it's not been a great session, but I mean, I'm only an hour in too, so not really too worried about it. This is the one thing is like, because I'm so focused on the long term. If you haven't seen my poker goals video yet for 2018, please go watch it. It's there in that video. I lay out all my goals for 2018. So one of the important aspects of my end goal for 2018, which is to be playing NL200, is you can't get so focused on one session if it's a good session or a bad session. Yes, you can say, okay, I made some mistakes. Like, for instance, the hand early on with the 75-cent bet that I gave the guy great pot odds to continue and get a flush when I had a straight. Okay, but overall session, you can't get bent up. If I lose 3 buy-ins this session, which could happen, that'd be $75, right? I'd be like, that sucks. But you can't get bent on one session. The same thing goes for if you have an amazing session and you win 3 buy-ins. It feels great, sure. But it's just a small piece to the overall puzzle. And for me, the ultimate goal is to reach a I don't know what it is yet. I don't have an end goal yet. I'll be honest with you. I don't have an end goal of where I want to say, okay, I'm happy here. My goal is eventually to make enough money to be able to have good side income. Um, so I will continue to build until I find a limit that I can sustain a good win rate and then profit from that. Where I say, okay, this is the limit I'm going to stop at and stop continuing on to go to the next limit. I don't know what that limit is yet, and I'll just know what it is at the time. Just 10-9 offsuit from a cutoff. Big blind. This is going to be a fold. So I think so. So the point is, what happens today in this session isn't so important, except the lessons I take out of this session. So what do I learn from this session to help me in future sessions as I gain more experience? Because I've only been playing poker seriously since August, and it just continues to be a learning experience. Now here I could have moved up to NL50 already, but I said, okay, I'm going to play 10,000 hands at this limit. 6-5 offsuit, so obviously this is not going to be a raise here. And it's important to keep that keep that in mind when playing. Is say, okay, oh man, I lost that hand before. I played such a bad hand. I gave the guy great pot odds to continue, and then I called the hand when I knew what he had. Yeah, okay, fine. Learn from it. Over time, you won't continue to make that mistake. Over time, you won't continue to make that mistake. So I think that's the important lesson. If there's any lesson from this video, that's the lesson. Is no matter what happens in the session, good or bad, the focus is on the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal, if you go and look at my 2008 poker goals, is NL200 by December 31st, 2018. And I think it's very achievable. I think realistically, if I continue to win at each limit, I can easily get there. Because it's realistic that by the end of the week, assuming I go in a downswing, I could be at NL50. And because I'm giving myself 15 buy-ins, it's definitely possible. Now, of course, the downswing is going to come, and that's what will change things. That's what will change the path. Is when the downswing comes, how long would the downswing be for? And will I have to drop down the limits when the downswing hits? So, what point during the process will the downswing come? The downswing comes like when I got 17 buy-ins in NL50. Then yeah, like if I drop below 13 buy-ins, right? Actually, I said 10 buy-ins. That would be a 7 buy-in downswing. Then yeah, then it would take a little bit longer because then I have to fight my way back up. But anyway, point being again, as I'm going to raise this up here. Point being again, we don't worry about one session. We learn from each session. And we gain more hands, and then we can use more hands for practice purposes. So we get a 3-bet here, and 10-8 suited. Oh, this is interesting. So it says versus the button, I can actually call this bet. I'm going to do it. I'm going to call the bet. Wow. I feel like this is just not a good board for me at all. Boy. Yeah. So we'll check it, and we're going to have to fold this. Interesting. Wow. Wow. All right, I'm just going to bet this here. because I don't want to give him a free card, and it possibly is then a better full house. Yeah, that actually worked out. If see, look, he could have had a king, and then I would have been beat. I had to bet that there. That was a complete protection bet. Similar to what we've dealt with previously with those different situation, but that was right in the middle. I just had to bet that. Here I get to ace nine. So really just nothing much happening here in this one. It's going to be an easy check fold for me. Yeah, I don't see any reason to continue with this hand, so we'll fold it up. And here we get ace nine again. So, what did they say? Okay, ace nine. All right, so my mistake says ace nine is okay. See, I know that like upswing will tell me all suited aces from the spot, but again, upswing is a lot looser. And we'll just take it down. Yeah, with that hand there, I mean, what else am I going to do, right? Because I have to bet that there. See, I should have thought about that when I had the straight. Again, I know I keep going back to that one hand. I shouldn't be harping one hand, but I had to bet that there. Because if I don't bet that there, and he checks behind, and now he has a king, what am I supposed to do? Now I'm in a real tough spot. So I did that to just not be in a tough spot there. 10-5 suited, we'll check it. Not really this great board here, so we'll just check it. Back to a flush draw paired board. I hate. This guy could have anything. Now the ace comes out. Again, out of position, really not much I'm going to be able to do here. And he could have anything. Yeah, he bets 25 cents. I'm not even calling 25 cents. I have no purpose. I have nothing to do in that hand. A player like this who's doing that, he's a fishy player. He's played 51% of his hands in 48 hands. His check is like my open raise. He could be. I mean his limp could be ace queen offsuit. I've seen it from these people. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. And then when he bets the ace, he's not checking. He's not bluffing. He does not bluff. He doesn't know how to bluff. He doesn't have that capability. So there's no reason to call 25 cents, because what are you calling for 25 cents for when you have 10-8 suited on that board? Nothing. So, and he's not thinking about anything except for his hand. He's not thinking about my hand. Uh, 10-9, of course, will just be a check or a fold. So we do have a gut shot on a monotone board, which is really interesting. 4 ways. I don't really love it. If we get like one of these 25-cent bets, I consider it. But yeah, on that bet there, on a monotone board, I could just see this one go goodbye and not even think twice about it. And then when you get a raise, it's kind of a no-brainer. Excuse me. I'm actually really proud of myself, that I even am thinking in this capacity of saying, oh, this session is, because that wasn't always the case with me. I think making that Poker Goals video was actually really a beneficial thing to me because it gave me a goal. It gave me really, it's a short-term goal. And I think it's a good short-term goal. And then to have rules placed in there, no fastball poker. big one. You know, and I have him here still. I have him in my spreadsheet. The buying requirements, the tournament I played a couple tournaments the other night. A fastball poker. So this one I could even add into the goals. I'm not going to add now. About the fact that I'm not moving up if I'm not winning at 10,000 hands. Although it kind of ties in here to number 8. So here we get Queen 7. So this guy, oh boy, what happened over here? Oy. Isn't this annoying? This guy has $2, and he's sitting right in front of me. So when I open raise, I'm in like real um, shoving danger because he's just in shove territory. He's playing like a tournament, and he's just in push or shove. I mean, shover, fold, push or fold. All right, so 75 cents here. Obviously, we're going to be 3-betting this. So I'm going to 3-bet at 3x because it's just me and him. I would make it 5x if it was a squeeze potential. Get out of multi-way. This guy is a pretty tight player so far, but it's only 20 hands. He's 11-11. So this is an interesting spot here. I could call or we can shove. I hate ace king shoving, but I think this is the right time to do it. So let's just shove it, and we'll hope for the best. If it was offsuit, I wouldn't. He's got king, so we just need to get ace, and no king, and we're good. Ace king offsuit, I would not do that with. Because ace king offsuit, I'd just be flagging the 4-bet. But ace king suited, I got no, at that point I'm going to 5-bet, and I don't see any point in doing anything but 5-bet shove. So here, this is under the gun, and I'm wearing a cutoff. So ace jack offsuit actually is a fold, even though to this min bet. Fish guy, his bet sizing means absolutely nothing. King 8 offsuit from the button is actually a raise. And this 10-9 I got fold. And thank God this guy didn't shove me. So, alright, so this is definitely a good spot to just start a c-bet. $1.20. That's another thing is, like, I'm not so concerned with c-betting anymore. I'm more concerned about position and check raising if I have a solid hand out of position. And it's proven to actually be pretty profitable. Instead of c-betting out of position, I'm usually always checking out of position now. Unless there are certain circumstances, depends, I mean, we saw it with the queens before, where I had the queens and I decided to bet. But most times, even if I had the best hands, like the other day I had aces, I checked, and I check raised because then I was at least able to get something out of my opponent if my hand is so good that, I can do that. So I'm really not c-betting too much, which I think is fine. I don't think it's necessary to c-bet. In fact, have a 50 or 60% c-bet is perfectly fine. And one thing I was doing before I signed up for Upswing is I was c-betting like tons, like 80, 90%. Because that's what microstakes, crushing microstakes kind of teaches you. And I don't really agree with it. I don't really agree with it because you're just getting too many folds. You're not getting enough value. So there are certain hands where you can say, all right, well, this is a solid hand to c-bet with. Maybe I got top pair with a hot good kicker. So for instance, right there, king what that was king 8. Let's say I had a king. Let's say I paired a king instead of pairing 8. Okay. That would really be a check situation because I have a king. He could have a better king. You know, I could actually check behind and go to the turn. 3-2 close to the fold. By the way, we knew this was going to happen. Oh, but he's topping up. That's good. That's good. How long have we been on for? An hour. All right. That being said, since it's been an hour, I didn't want to make this video too long. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you liked it. I'm going to continue my session, but I'm not going to record the rest. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I thought this is a great video. Got to talk a little bit about my thoughts while playing. And to this point now on this video here, in this table I'm up $15. This table I'm down 7. So we're up about $7 total for the session so far. This here I can fold. So thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw, do me a favor. Please subscribe. And I really appreciate it. And until next time, Poker Dad out after I raise his hand. We'll just play this hand and they'll say Poker Dad out. We'll see what happens with this hand. And then Poker Dad out. And there you go. Thank you for watching, everybody.